Did I really transmigrate to this world, just to become a human-shaped taser? I wanted to crush the heavens with a single punch, rise to the peak of all power. All I did was drink a little too much at the graduation party, and when I woke up, I found myself in another world. Who would believe this? Okay, reincarnation is reincarnation, but can I have a slightly better starting point? The world he had transmigrated into was called Blue Star. Its civilization and technological development weren't much different from his previous world. But this place had two things that defied all previous understanding: ferocious beasts and superpowers. Ferocious beasts were bloodthirsty and terrifying creatures wreaking havoc across Blue Star. Superpowers, on the other hand, were the source of humanity's strength and their resistance against these monsters. According to the memories in his mind, his current body was still named Xu Jingming, a 12th grade student at Zhangcheng No. 2 High School. Aside from a face that was somewhat more striking than average, everything else about him was as ordinary as could be. Even the superpower he awakened was just an E-rank ability, weak electricity. Superpower, Xu Jingming murmured, raising his right hand and snapping his fingers. Between his fingers, faint threads of blue electricity sparked and flickered. If this were his old world, that trick alone might have been enough to shock people into awe. But on Blue Star, it wasn't anything special. Superpowers on Blue Star were divided into categories: elemental, enhancement, mental, recovery, nature, and special. Everyone in this world awakened their superpower at the age of 16, becoming what they called superpower users. Superpowers weren't just categorized by type, but also by quality. According to Blue Star's evaluation system, superpowers were ranked into 9 grades: SSS, SS, SA, B, C, D, E, F. Most people could only awaken D or E rank abilities. Only a few had the potential to reach C or B rank. And those who awakened in A- rank power were considered blessed by the heavens, pursued by society, and given elite status. As for SSS, or even SSS ranks, those were exceptionally rare existences, sometimes only appearing once every several years, or even decades. Currently, Xu Jingming was sitting in his classroom, and a new lesson had just begun. Standing at the front was a middle-aged man, the homeroom teacher of Class 12A5, Mr. Chen Fan. 12 years of study, all for today. The teacher said solemnly, "The college entrance exams are just around the corner. Stay focused. Those of you taking the academic track, remember to check your pens, notebooks, and test supplies tonight. As for those of you in the martial track, make sure your combat gear and weapons are ready." I'll say this one last time: the military exams come with the risk of death. Anyone with a superpower ranked below D should not take the martial track. Before 9 p.m. tonight, you can still change your choice. If anyone wants to switch, come see me. As he spoke, the teacher's gaze fell on Xu Jingming. Jingming smiled. Of course he understood what the teacher meant. After all, among the students in Class 12A5, he was the only one with an E-rank ability who still chose the martial track. Based on past data, most students who died during the martial exam had powers ranked D or lower. Even though he only had an E-rank ability, Xu Jingming's predecessor had stubbornly chosen the martial path, and Jingming wholeheartedly agreed with that decision, because choosing the martial track still gave him a chance to fight back, a chance to change his fate. But if he didn't even dare take that step, then he'd truly be nothing more than just another ordinary person. In the world where Xu Jingming now lived, universities were divided into 2 main types: academic universities, which focused on scholarly education, and superpower universities, which trained individuals in extraordinary combat and survival abilities. Accordingly, the National College Entrance Exam was also split into 2 formats: the academic exam and the martial exam. The academic exam was simple: sit in a room and write your answers. But the martial exam was a different beast entirely. Candidates had to don combat suits, wield real weapons, enter a designated test zone, and risk their lives fighting ferocious beasts. Their scores would be based on the number and level of beasts they managed to slay. Choosing between the academic or martial track was entirely up to each student. But there was an important distinction. Even after awakening a superpower, one was still only known as a newly awakened, not yet a true wielder of power. Only after a period of intense training could a person transition from a newly awakened into a true superpower user, someone capable of fighting ferocious beasts head-on. Superpower users were ranked from Tier 1 to Tier 9, with each tier further broken down into lower, middle, and upper stages. However, If one could earn admission to a superpower university and receive proper instruction from professional trainers, this process could be greatly accelerated. That was why the college entrance exam was such a pivotal moment. But before Xu Jingming could even think about those future challenges, he had to deal with the present-day discrimination that came with having such a low-ranked ability. A male classmate walked up, his tone dripping with contempt. The teacher already said it clearly, and you still insist on taking the military entrance exam? You're a bottom-tier loser stuck at rank E. You'll tarnish the school's reputation if you apply for a superpower university. You should just take the academic exam, join some company after college, and live out your pitiful little life as a desk jockey. At that moment, a girl shouted from across the room, Huang Tian, stop bullying my friend. Huang Tian scowled but didn't want to waste more time arguing. He said coldly, I'll show you all who the real top dog is, tomorrow during the exam. As he turned to leave, he threw one last jab over his shoulder. You two better enjoy your last moments together. That loser's going to die during the test anyway. The girl, Lin Tianbian, looked at Jingming with concern. Don't listen to him, she said softly. Everyone has value. Even if you switch to the academic track and live in the city, that's still a good life. Jingming stayed silent. In this world, his parents had been killed by monsters, and he had been powerless to do anything about it. He never wanted to feel that helpless again. That night, Xu Jingming returned to the house his parents had left him, a small home and a little over 1 million yuan in death benefits. Beyond that, they had left him nothing else. So, when he walked through the front door, he was alone, but fortunately, in his previous life, Jingming had also been an orphan. He had long since grown used to the feeling of being alone. Besides, he now had something far more important to focus on. He needed to train, not just to pass the exam, but to survive it, to defend against the threat of ferocious beasts. Every city was fortified with layers of protection, high-voltage electric grids, armed military units, and super-powered task forces, but nothing was foolproof. From time to time, some cities fell to beast hordes. The casualties were massive. Xu Jingming didn't want to stand helpless before such a disaster someday. But his E-rank power was drained after only a few basic training moves. He had been practicing with a spear for 2 years, and yet, his skill level was still beginner tier. However, the mortality rate among those below rank D was rising year by year. Wasn't this supposed to be a world with transmigration perks? Where's my system? Come on, save me already. Xu Jingming mumbled helplessly, and just as he finished speaking, a mechanical voice suddenly echoed in his mind. System activating. System successfully activated. Issuing beginner package. Beginner package issued successfully. Would you like to claim it now? Hearing the voice in his head, Xu Jingming's eyes immediately widened, and his mouth dropped open in disbelief. The system. There's really a system? After the initial shock came a wave of ecstatic joy. As someone who had transmigrated, he knew full well what a system meant. It was the chance to change fate and climb to the top. Taking a deep breath to calm himself, Xu Jingming didn't rush to claim the reward right away. Instead, he asked in his heart, what's in the beginner package? 200 ability points, and an S-rank ability, Violet Sky Divine Thunder. Xu Jingming felt like a bolt of lightning had struck his brain. His eyes lit up, and his breathing grew rapid. He wasn't sure what ability points were just yet, but an S-rank ability, he knew exactly what that meant. It was one of the rarest abilities on all of Blue Planet. In a major nation like Huaxia, it took 4 whole years for even one new S-rank ability user to appear. Those with S-rank abilities, as long as they didn't die prematurely, would inevitably rise to rule over a region, becoming an unmatched force. Still not daring to believe it, Xu Jingming confirmed once more. System, as long as I receive the newbie gift, I will immediately have an S-class ability? The system replied, that's right. Receiving an affirmative answer, Xu Jingming's eyes lit up once again. An S-rank ability. The chance to change his destiny had arrived. Looking at the glowing blue virtual interface in his mind, Jingming no longer hesitated. He slammed the claim button. Beginner package claimed. 200 ability points have been added to your account. Activating S-rank ability, Violet Sky Divine Thunder. Progress. 10%, 20%, 30%. A deep rumble echoed out as if infinite power was erupting from within Xu Jingming's body. Suddenly, countless streaks of violet blue lightning danced around him, radiating blinding light. His entire body transformed into a ball of lightning. The crackling sound of electricity rang out non-stop. and the surging thunder light exploded outward like a tsunami, starting from the very spot where Xu Jingming stood, swallowing the entire living room. The sofa, the TV, the coffee table, anything the lightning touched exploded into fragments. The thunderbolts even ignited raging flames, blasting through the windows and shooting out into the sky. Oh my god, the house across the street is on fire. Call the fire department. Isn't that the house of the Wa kid? The explosion was so loud that it immediately caught the attention of the neighbors. Many panicked and called emergency services. But inside the house, Jingming was completely unaware. All he felt was a strange warmth surging through his body, as if it were overflowing with an indescribable force. 50%, 60%, 70%. The evolution process was still ongoing. And outside, perhaps due to the influence of the ability evolution, the once sunny afternoon suddenly turned dark. Thunderclouds rolled in, casting shadows like nightfall falling all at once. There was no rain, but thunder roared like drumbeats from the heavens. Within the heavy clouds, streaks of violet lightning flashed, like dragons roaring across the sky. Why did the sky go dark all of a sudden? That lightning is insane. I feel some kind of overwhelming pressure. This strange weather plunged the entire Zhang city into unease. Fearing a lightning-controlling beast might be approaching, the regional commander immediately issued an alert. All units stationed in Zhang City, go on full alert. 80%, 90%, 95%, 98%, 99%. Inside the room, Xu Jingming's evolution process was nearing completion. Suddenly, a massive purple bolt of lightning streaked down from the sky, crashing straight through the window and striking directly into Xu Jingming's body like a dragon descending from the heavens. At that very moment, the thunderclouds dispersed, and sunlight returned to the land. Xu Jingming had completed the evolution process. His ability had reached 100% synchronization. The lightning around Xu Jingming's body slowly receded like a retreating tide, gradually being absorbed back into him. After a long moment, Jingming slowly opened his eyes. A cold purple spark flickered in his pupils. The ability had evolved successfully. Jingming's entire body was brimming with power. Instinctively, he raised his right hand. With a single thought, countless streaks of purple lightning burst forth around his arm. Unlike the weak bluish-white sparks from before, these purple bolts carried a primal, violent aura, the kind that made people shiver just from sensing it. This was the true might of an S-rank ability, Violet Sky Divine Thunder. A brilliant light flashed in Jingming's eyes. He could feel it. If one of these lightning bolts struck a real person, it wouldn't just electrocute them, it would reduce them to ashes. However, this much chaos might have been a bit excessive. With a wry smile, Xu Jingming retracted the electric current surrounding him and scratched his head as he looked around the devastated living room. Thankfully, he had noticed something was off during the mutation process and managed to restrain the power in time. Otherwise, it wouldn't have just been the living room that got destroyed. Despite his complaints, Xu Jingming was thrilled inside. After all, the stronger the ability, the greater the future potential. Right, there were still those 200 ability points from the starter package. What could they be used for? As soon as the thought crossed his mind, a system notification echoed in his head. Ability points can be earned by eliminating feral beasts. They can be used to level up your rank and enhance your skills. You can view your current points and upgrade options in the system interface. As soon as the system explained, Xu Jingming immediately understood. Ability points were just like Express in games. Kill monsters to level up. It was a simple mechanic, but incredibly effective. A confident smile tugged at the corners of his lips as he immediately pulled up his status screen. Name, Xu Jingming. Rank, Awakened. Ability, Violet Sky Divine Thunder, S rank. Physique, 121 Vital Energy. Spirit, 140 Hz. Skills, Spear Technique Basic. Thunder Flash Windbreaker, Basic. Ability points, 200. The interface was short and straightforward, and the plus signs indicated which attributes could be upgraded. Looking at the status panel, it was clear that the 200 ability points could be spent either to boost his core stats or enhance his skills. So, what would be the most optimal investment? After a few seconds of contemplation, Xu Jingming made his decision. Tomorrow was the physical combat entrance exam. He had to use these points efficiently to maximize his combat power. Physique and spirit were the most essential foundations. Whether it was using martial skills or controlling abilities, both attributes were critically important. With that thought in mind, He split the 200 ability points evenly, 100 into physique and 100 into spirit, and then gave the command, System, allocate the points. As soon as he clicked the plus sign on the system panel, a surge of intense power suddenly erupted within his body. The power flowed like a mighty river, rushing through his veins with unstoppable force. Right after, his thoughts also became sharper and more focused. Jingming then swung his arms, moved around, and threw a few basic punches to feel the changes in his strength. He quickly realized that his control over the Violet Heaven Divine Thunder ability had also significantly improved. After all, supernatural abilities still stem from a person's physical and mental attributes. When these two stats increase, the power of one's abilities also grows stronger accordingly. Clenching his fists and feeling the strength surging through his blood vessels, along with the violet thunder crackling, ready to be summoned in his hands, Jingming couldn't help but nod in satisfaction. His gaze then returned once more to the system panel. Physique.